before. I can't take it anymore. Watching Smackdown live on Tuesdays. Bryan always fades out during TNA.
All right, everybody, it's the Bryan and Vinny Show here. Filthy Four Daily. It is something or other. August 3, 2017, figure4online.com.
Dude, turn down the music.
What are you talking about? It's a problem, Tom.
Oh my God, it's killing me.
Well, we adjusted some settings, so apparently now it's louder. You may have to turn down your headphones.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Well, you'll have to get to work on that, dude.
Well, sorry.
So, you've already burned a bridge with the B-plus players. I haven't heard one word from them since you insulted them, saying they were B-plus players. What are we going to do about this?
Not a damn thing.
Man, Tom.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know, apologize publicly so they send us a new song? Even though I don't know why they got to replace the song because we're doing Smackdown. I guess because we're not doing anything. Impact. Is that why?
I guess. They don't have to do anything. Nice guys. There you go. I put them over.
They're nice guys. They're not B-plus players, Tom.
They call themselves that. It would be insulting of me not to agree with them. They know themselves better than I know them, so.
Theoretically, yes. We got a lot to talk about here today. Smackdown, Royal Rumble 1991. So, Tom, there was a UFC this weekend. I presume you didn't see it because you were taking one of your 9,000 bookings. Is that right?
I wouldn't say I have 9,000 bookings, but I did see the UFC on Saturday, actually. In between, it was sandwiched in between bookings. Friday night, I wrestled Chris Dickinson, the Dirty Daddy, in New York City for Tier 1 Wrestling. Unfortunately, I was delayed for like 6 hours in the airport. I arrived well after the show was scheduled to begin. It affected my performance, and I walked away the loser on that match. However, I was able to defeat Bobby Fish on Sunday at the Beyond Wrestling American Rana matinee show. So I made up for Friday night's mishap.
The Hurricane Rana show?
American Rana.
American Rana.
Correct, yes.
That's very exciting. You've now beaten Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
That is true.
2 matches I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, get to it. What's your deal there? You get the Kyle O'Reilly one's easily accessible if you just search Kyle O'Reilly versus Tom Lawlor on YouTube. Very battle arts-ish.
I'll make sure I check that one out.
Yeah. The match with Bobby Fish is also very battle artsy, which is one of the best compliments anybody paid me, so I'll take it.
All right. Going back to this UFC, Jon Jones won. First off, how did you score the first 2 rounds?
I had it 1-1. I had it first round Jones, second round Cormier. And, I mean, you could see as soon as the third round began, whatever problems Cormier gave Jon Jones in the second, there was a very quick adjustment by Jon Jones and his team because he just put himself right outside of Cormier's range that Cormier was able to tag him at earlier and used Cormier's tendency to hand fight kind of wide openly to his advantage and throw that kick over the top of an outstretched hand. So great strategic maneuver. But Bryan, I will say, yes, I don't think that kick was as good as the kick that my boy Julian Marquez landed on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series.
That's right. Your boy is now a contracted UFC fighter.
Right. The most excited I've been in ages. This is the highest pressure situation that you could be in because they only give out 2 of the contracts per show. Even though there's 5 fights. So you have to hope that, first of all, you win. Second of all, that you have some spectacular performance. And, he delivered. So it was awesome. I'm sure it was all over SportsCenter. It was on ESPN. It's been all over the internet. Dana White was blowing it up. So congrats to him. It was awesome to be there.
Now, I can't believe that this Dana White Tuesday Night Fights, I mean, was this a season finale? Like, are they taking time off now?
No, I think there's still 3 or 4 weeks left. I believe it ends at the end of the summer.
Okay, so it does end at some point.
Correct, but I believe they're going to bring it back. I mean, I kind of like it's fun.
Well, I'm not saying anything negative about the show itself. What I'm saying is, I mean, if you're giving away 2 contracts every single week, I mean, we're talking 100 new fighters every year. I mean,
yeah, but that
doesn't make sense.
They don't have to give away the contracts. I I think they only have to. I mean, I don't think they have to give any. They could just go, "Hey, we're going to give none," or "Hey, we'll give all 5." I don't know.
All right. Well, my big question coming out of Saturday is when Jon Jones fights Brock Lesnar at heavyweight, Brock's going to be like 265 pounds. Jones maybe 240, 245, somewhere around there. Who wins this fight?
Jon Jones by choke.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow. Gonna choke out Brock Lesnar, huh?
Correct.
Brock's got no neck.
Come on, Brian.
He's got enough of a neck?
He's got enough in the neck that Jon Jones is going to choke it.
All right.
Or he'll TKO him. I mean, that's also a high possibility.
It's a
probability.
Very bold statement. I mean, not according to odds makers, but... You know.
I don't... Everybody that comes to me and talks to me about this fight is adamant, like, Brock Lesnar's just too big. Brock Lesnar's just going to run him over. Brock Lesnar's huge. Brock Lesnar's this. Brock Lesnar's that. Sure, he's all those things, but Jon Jones is on another level than everybody that he's fought. Why would you think that this would be any different?
Well, I don't think it would be any different, except that it is different because the guy is 40 pounds heavier. I mean, Jones has never... Everyone he's fought has not been 40 pounds heavier. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I mean, there is one big difference here in this fight. He's 40 pounds heavier.
But is that an advantage?
We'll find out. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
No, I don't think it is an advantage in this case.
I mean, you're the professional.
Yeah, I think Jon Jones is just, too highly skilled of a fighter. He's in his prime, his absolute prime right now, I believe, and Brock Lesnar is not, so that's what it's going to come down to. But, maybe Brock Lesnar, if he had taken mixed martial arts more seriously throughout the years and concentrated solely on that, would wipe the floor with Jon Jones if he would have developed his striking and, had, just phenomenal stand-up and cardio, but that's not the case, so
there you go. All right, let's start with SmackDown here. Then we got to get into this Royal Rumble, which was not as good as the last Royal Rumble.
No, not whatsoever. All right. So, anybody wonder why the show's a day late? It's Brian's fault.
So, get out of here, Tom. How dare you? How dare you?
Figure 4 Daily. Wait a minute. We have SmackDown Live from 8
What,
to
you have to
2017.
label it? You have to label your report so you know what you're doing it for?
Yeah.
What?
I take notes. What's the problem with that?
I do too. I don't write Figure 4 Daily on the top.
It says F4 Daily 8/2/2017.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
So that includes all of your jokes as well about whatever.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Okay.
SmackDown Live, Royal Rumble.
I got it.
Geek of the Week. Anything else I want to talk about? There's some Wikipedia links. I take this shit seriously. For my fans.
Sure, yeah. All right, well, let's go.
So AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens opens up the show. We are graced with this contest to open it to prove that indeed SmackDown TV shows are more important than their pay-per-views. So this is a really good match, I thought. KO attempted a package pile driver. AJ countered, landed on his feet behind the new face of America, hit a Pele kick, followed by a calf crusher before Owens got to the ropes. A good portion of this match, I think, was during the commercial break, but we still got, 15 minutes of it on TV, perhaps?
There was a lot of it.
Yeah. A lot of action here.
Thankfully, Kevin Owens saved most of his headlocks for the commercial break, which I appreciated. Although they did still air that inset, and it's like, okay, my choice is a commercial or Kevin Owens putting a dude in a chin lock. I mean, I don't know which is worse.
Well, it depends what the commercial is.
That's true.
Yeah. So Owens goes to hit AJ, who ducks. So Owens wipes out the ref. Owens looks for the pop-up power bomb. AJ victory rolls him, and the blinded ref comes over while Owens' shoulder is clearly up. JBL screaming about it as it's going on. The referee counts 3. The referee, Mike Chioda, more specifically, counts 3 as the shoulder's up for the entire 3 count. Obviously, this plays off of their finish from the Battleground pay-per-view, but unfortunately, I never watched that. So,
this finish here, and actually more so the aftermath. So they go backstage, and Bryan and Shane are chastising Mike Chioda. They're saying, "Bad call, dude. Bad call." This is Shane McMahon mostly.
yeah.
Mike Chioda is standing there holding onto his fucking face because Kevin Owens punched him right in the face and knocked the shit out of him. And they're blaming Mike Chioda for this?
Yes, what they said was, you should have called in another ref. You should know to call in another ref.
He was unconscious.
He wasn't. He counted a pin while he was unconscious?
Yeah, he stumbled to his feet and counted a pin.
Then he was conscious.
Not to mention, listen, if we want to play that game, how many matches have we seen where the referee gets knocked out and another referee is sent down to the ring?
The referee gets knocked out.
The referee who's knocked out he never calls for another referee. There's always somebody backstage who says, "Oh my God, the ref's down. Earl, get the fuck out there." You know who that person is? That person's Shane McMahon. So that's in my world. Shane McMahon was asleep on the job, like usual. Like usually, no shows all of these pay-per-views. A referee went down. He didn't think to call out another referee. Now he's got to blame this ref. Unacceptable.
Okay,
bad GM.
But listen, Mike Chioda was awake. Usually these refs get wiped out when they're like down for the count. They're done. They're not getting back up to count a 3 count. Mike Chioda was rocked, and instead of, using discretion and calling down another referee who could make a proper call, his ego was too big. He wanted to be involved himself, and he made the call, and that's why Shane's upset.
Listen, I don't know why you're standing by this referee. I know you're playing devil's advocate.
I'm not. I'm standing by Shane.
This is 100%. This is 100% Shane's fault, and he was out of line to yell at Mike Chioda.
Oh, this is not. No, get out of here. This is not Shane's fault.
That's what happened.
No.
And then I got even more. So then Kevin Owens is really mad, and he's screaming at Shane. He's screaming at Bryan. He demands a rematch. Shane gives him the rematch.
We don't want a ref who's going to fall down at the first gust of wind.
Yep. So they sign the rematch. Kevin demands a better referee. Bryan suggests Shane. Shane doesn't want to do it until Kevin says, well, he's the most incompetent of anybody here. And then Shane has to puff up his already puffed up chest and go, well, I'm going to be the referee. If you want the match, it's going to be me. This guy's ego is out of control.
Yeah, that's been the storyline since day one.
It's crazy. Now, I will say that when Owens left and Shane McMahon calmly turned to Bryan and said, that went well, I did laugh.
What kind of chicken shit is Daniel Bryan? He came off terrible here as well.
Not worse than Shane.
Like, you want a ref? I got one for you. It's him.
Well, yeah, Bryan can't do anything.
Well, I know he can't, but it made him look weak. So, we go back after the segment, and Tom Phillips spits up waste from an orifice that doesn't require a DM to get it working, as the rest of tonight's matchups emanate from his mouth. A SmackDown fact lets us know that last week's SmackDown Live was the most social show in prime time.
Who gives a shit?
Beating America's Got Talent.
Who gives a shit?
Listen.
They're going to go to NBC Universal and go, shit's bad, but we were the most social show. Oh, well, we're going to give you double.
They beat America's Got Talent, NCIS, the International Champions Cup on ESPN, and Shark Week. So, first of all, what does this mean? Does it mean like they're more annoying, they talk more, they're like social butterfly, they're just everywhere? Is that? I mean, I don't get it. They're more social than NCIS. You think NCIS has like a strong Twitter presence? You think they're
I'm sure people are tweeting throughout the show about
hashtags. NCIS. Yeah. What is the International Champions Cup? I have no clue. No idea.
Don't look at me, dude, but it ain't very social, apparently.
Also, let's think about this. They get 4 hours of primetime tweeting because of airing in different time zones, right? So at least, I would imagine at least 4 hours. International Champions Cup was probably live, so, difference there. Whatever. This damn stat killed me. There was an awesome Usos rap promo where they ran down the New Day. They continue to be one of the best things on SmackDown Live each and every week. Then we had the Fashion Files. Bryan, I've never watched an episode of Twin Peaks.
I haven't either.
So I think I missed a lot of the jokes here.
But Vinny lives where it was filmed. He lives in North Bend.
No way.
Yep, so I'll have to ask him about this. But all I know is fans laughed. I know the people that love Twin Peaks laughed. I know that people who performed on the show Twin Peaks laughed. So it must have been pretty goddamn good. And when it was over, the fans applauded.
Yeah.
We
which
still
was
have
bizarre.
no idea what's going on. They're going to drag this on forever.
Well, at least Tyler Breeze now knows who kidnapped Dan, as he called him. Did you notice that? Dan is gone. I'm like, who the hell is he talking
I thought it was
about?
Dango,
Oh,
he called him.
Fandango. No, I think he called him Don. Yeah.
I know he often calls him Dango.
Well, it's like Elias the Drifter Samson. He's getting cut down. He was Fandango, now Dongo, now Dan, perhaps.
Pretty soon he's just going to be Go.
There's already one of those. He's pretty damn good, too.
It's true.
Go Shiozaki. I
Yeah.
wonder what. All right. So we got Sami Zayn. Just cue the music. Fuck, man. This poor guy. I mean, unless you got somebody else for me.
The second week in a row we've done this, it throws people off. Heat of the week. Well, it looks like it's Sami Zayn.
Sure as hell's not Aiden English.
You know, normally it would be like Mike and Maria, but they weren't buried on this show.
Well, I did nominate them because their entrance and promo on the show was geek-worthy.
It was,
No doubt
but I
about
mean,
that.
they were at least celebrating Sammy, who lost to Aiden English clean in the middle via roll-up, in a match that went like a minute.
2 minutes.
And it wasn't even a good match. Mike and Maria come out and they say, we love each other, and we love that Sammy lost. And I think the cherry on top of the sundae, so to speak, was from Tom Phillips,
Yep.
who said, quote, that was it? And they went to commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times has Sammy won this?
I think he may be the all-time winner at this point, which I would not have predicted when we began.
Now, I do have to say this as we're talking about Geek of the Week.
He was
mean,
orange.
well-
He's some strange shade of orange now.
I mean, we have to at least acknowledge Nia Jax, who just runs through everybody, and not in a good way. She has injured Bailey by, in a fake match, throwing her as hard as she possibly could to the canvas, and then lifting her up in a double chicken wing and not letting go, but hurling her shoulder first to the canvas to her already injured shoulder. I mean, I strongly would have argued for Nia Jax for Geek of the Week.
Despite his win, Tyron Woodley had some geek-worthy moments, I would say.
He did as well.
Threatening to extort Dana White.
You know, hold on a second. You know what? I think that we should use Nia instead of Sammy this time. Sammy's won multiple times. Isn't the whole point of this thing like someone's got to stand out, or it's got to be something that not necessarily is going to happen every week? I mean, you don't think that Sammy's going to lose again to another geek next week?
Okay, let me tell you the story, like the situation here. Sami Zayn comes out first to the ring. Aiden English, who's been a complete and total jobber for the most part, although I guess he did defeat Ty Dillinger once, gets like a 5-minute entrance, comes down, sings. I thought it was masterful because the crowd did not care at first, and by the end of it, they were chanting, "You suck," at him. So he did his job well. Then Aiden English just rolls him up and pins him. So he got pinned by a jobber. You know, I think you have to take into account who he was facing and who he lost to. And I understand what you're saying about Nia Jax.
And to be fair, in your defense, it is not bad worker of the week. It is not worker who I'd never get in the ring with of the week. It's geek of the week. So fine, we'll give it to Sami Zayn.
Well, JBL says clearly English got in Zayn's head after he's pinned. And then what also helps it is Sami Zayn just sits there and sulks in the ring before Maria and Mike came out. Poor guy. So Becky Lynch and Naomi, the team of Fire and Glow, take on Natalya and Carmella. So Fire and Glow did a cringeworthy chest bump before they entered the ring. I really enjoyed this match after the last 2 months of 5-way matches featuring Lana and Tamina in there as well. This felt like some good solid action for once from this women's division. Becky and Naomi had some nice double team moves. The heels got some quick heat on Naomi, and Natalya had the sharpshooter locked on. Naomi fights to the ropes. Carmella tags herself in behind Natty's back, essentially. Locks up the Code of Silence, which Naomi quickly reverses into her full Nelson with the legs. Becky spears Natty to take her out, and Carmella is forced to submit.
Man, they're strongly teasing cash-ins from Baron Corbin and Carmella coming up here at SummerSlam.
I think the Carmella one's coming because Ellsworth is nowhere to be found, so I think he comes back at SummerSlam.
That's true. He has been nowhere to be found.
Yep. Well, he's suspended, but that should be coming up soon. However, they haven't really mentioned it in the last few weeks, which usually means he's coming back.
Yep.
As a surprise. Woo. So Renee interviewed our world champion, Jinder Mahal. He said he has...
Oh my God. May I for a moment?
Hey, go for it.
I want you to keep in mind, this ain't the 1991 Royal Rumble.
Prove your xenophobia right here.
It's 2017. And they wrote a segment where Jinder Mahal comes on the screen and says, I do not care if I need to face the man from Japan or the American. I'm like, what? What is going on here? It's 2017. This guy is a cartoon character out of Vince McMahon's, like the 80s. And he's got a new gimmick that once you see it, you can't unsee it, which is he's constantly glancing at the belt. I am Jinder Mahal, glance at belt. I do not care, glance at belt. If I face the man from Japan, glance at belt. Or the American, gaze at the belt. I'm like, this is adding a new dimension to your character. It sucked.
Well, we could tell it was coming because John Cena last week said how dedicated he was and how much he cared about the belt. So it seems like that's the selling point, perhaps, to make him a baby face in certain parts of the world.
Huh. Wow.
He cares about that belt so much.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Whatever. So we had Chad Gable versus Rusev. We had the American taking on the Bulgarian, in case anybody was wondering. We had an awesome chain wrestling sequence at the beginning with Gable going back to the single leg, trying to get Rusev down. Rusev staying on his feet for the most part, but then Gable gets sent outside, comes right back in, grabs a single leg, takes Rusev down to referee's position, and has his back. This felt like a showcase match for Gable, despite the result, as he hit some rolling belly-to-belly suplexes, looked awesome. Great German suplex, a picture-perfect moonsault, only got a 2 count. Goes for the chaos theory, but Rusev counters, lands a head kick for 2, tosses Gable outside again, catches him with a thrust kick as he re-enters, locks up the accolade, gets a submission victory. I thought this match was awesome.
This match was great. I didn't expect Gable to win, but I was hoping that he would, but I knew he wouldn't, if you know what I mean.
I thought he was going to win because, I don't know. Like, there was the look on Rusev's face when he walked down in the ring at the beginning.
Dude, Rusev's a professional. Happy. He's a professional.
Yeah, he knew
he was going to beat an Olympic. He was going to beat an Olympian. Of course, he was happy.
You know, Rusev did, I think, I don't know, like 4 moves this entire match.
Yeah,
just got beat up the rest of the time, and it was like all kicks. I think he threw 4 kicks and put on the accolade.
Well, Rusev worked him over during the break again. It was one of those inset deals. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was very good, and then we got the Rusev promo afterwards.
Yep. Demanded competition.
Yep.
Then his music played, and he looked at the ramp like really confused.
Yeah, because they hit the wrong fucking music. Yeah. Like, he knew that when the music hit, he was supposed to look at the ramp like, oh my God. So he did, and then he realized it was his own music, and then some idiot had to switch it to Orton's music.
Yeah, then I guess he probably did the thing where he pumps his arms in the air and screams. But then Randy Orton came down, decided to make his presence known, spoke some words. Randy RKO'd him after Rusev was laughing at him, talking trash in Bulgarian.
What a way to set up a match. I issue a challenge, guy comes down, lays me out. SummerSlam!
Yeah, well, would you rather burn down his shack?
I would rather he did not burn down his shack.
Would you rather Randy interfere in his wedding in Bulgaria when they're throwing money at Lana, throwing money at the bride? And
dude, if he showed up and started laying out brides, or not the grooms. Who does the groom have? The
bridesmaids?
Not the bridesmaids. Who are the males?
The first sergeant.
No, what are they really called?
Men of honor?
No, they're not. What are they called? I don't even remember.
Groomsmen.
Groomsmen, thank you. If he started laying out groomsmen with RKOs and then started kissing all the bridesmaids, it'd be awesome.
For who?
For me watching it. Going, that's an angle.
It'd be great for Randy. Yeah, whatever happened. I mean, I still want to see him go to India and just RKO a bunch of people.
Well, maybe it's going to happen down the road.
Yeah.
They haven't toured.
I don't think so. Just think about back in the day to how awesome it was when Canyon was just going around canyon cuttering people. That was great. Isn't that what it was?
Cutting.
Cutting?
Yeah.
Canyon cutting?
Canyon cutting.
No.
Yeah.
I think it would still be, because it's a canyon cutter.
Yeah.
It's not a canyon cut. It's the thing that you use to cut. Right?
It's canyon cutting, not canyon cuttering.
I believe that you are wrong.
I believe
listen, I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying you're wrong.
Well, I'm saying I'm right and you're wrong, so there you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah, call me an idiot again. Remember, you got to see me in a few weeks.
Oh, I won't forget.
Yeah, when I shove your head face first into Johnny Rockets. Oh, Granny's not coming back, right? So there's no lunch. There's no lunch at Johnny Rockets.
Well, there may be, but we'll just have we'll have a photo of her.
All right.
A life-size cutout.
So we are informed that since the WWE has launched Sunday Dhamal in India, over 100 million people have viewed it, which really, to me, doesn't sound that impressive because there's 1.324 billion people in the country. I can't imagine that's 100 million unique views.
Of course it's not.
And plus, does that mean, what if somebody just walks by a TV, right? Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
You know, this might be a bullshit stat on WWE television. I know that's very hard to believe.
Never. Come on. So we have the main event here, John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Early on, they're wrestling. Nakamura puts Cena in the corner, buries his head in his chest, then walks out, puts on the upside-down fake glasses with his fingers to let him know, and us know, that he in fact can see John Cena. Great move. So Jinder is in the skybox with the Singh brothers. Singh brothers wearing a neck brace. One's in a sling, an arm sling, respectively, from the Punjabi prison match. I gotta go watch this match. I gotta watch this and the kendo stick match between Bayley and Alexa to see which one was worse.
Which one?
Dave said that the kendo stick match between Bayley and Alexa was worse than the Punjabi prison. But I haven't seen the Punjabi prison.
You know what? You know what? It was.
Really?
It actually was, yeah.
It's way shorter.
The Punjabi prison match was significantly more boring. But as far as like a bad match, I mean, for sure it was the kendo stick match.
No, never mind. The kendo stick match has nothing on the match where the chick was selling her pussy in TNA last
No, I think that was
year.
much worse, yes.
Yeah. So back and forth match. Why hasn't that spot taken off? Come on.
Because it sucked.
In an awesome spot during the match, Cena sets up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Nakamura throws up an armbar, transitions to a triangle. Cena powers out, goes for an AA. Nakamura counters it into a facebuster. Goes for the Kinshasa. Cena drop toe holds him into the step over toe hold face lock, aka the STF. Nakamura counters back into an armbar. Cena nails a big clothesline as both men lay on the mat while the crowd chants, "This is awesome." They get up. A barrage of strikes by Nakamura leads to another attempted Kinshasa. Cena counters it into an AA, but only gets 2. Another AA lands, holds onto the arm, rolls over, looks for a third. Nakamura slips behind him, hits the deadliest backdrop in the history of man. Just crushes Cena, folds him over on his neck. Just his head, not even his neck. then finally hits the Kinshasa to get the victory. Awesome match.
It was a great match. You know, I don't even know
though
why,
John Cena almost died.
I don't even know why I acknowledge these morons. And this guy is a moron. Because I made this so abundantly clear, and I would bet you anything that what happened was he saw, like, somebody wrote something on Reddit, and then he read it and flipped his lid and had to send some stupid tweets out to me. Not actually having listened to anything that I said.
Yeah, so Dave signed with TNA?
No, that's a different one there.
Oh.
Basically, this person is... Actually, it was a text message they sent. Essentially, they're crying that, well, of course Bryan says he would never wrestle Sheamus or Nia Jax, but of course he'd have a match with Nakamura after Nakamura dropped John Cena on his head. I made this so fucking abundantly clear. The John Cena one was an accident.
Well, first of all, I think it's kind of Cena's fault, because the move is...
And that's my point! Every time that Nakamura has ever done that move, the move is, you toss the guy, he flips over, lands on his stomach. I think that John Cena went up, forgot what the hell was going on, tucked his head, and landed on his neck and almost killed himself. That's why, at the end of the match, Nakamura said, "I'm sorry," and John Cena said, "Don't be sorry." Because it was not Nakamura's fault. Nakamura wasn't being careless. He did the move the way he always does the move. Cena's the guy that decided he wasn't going to take the bump right. He didn't decide, but that's what happened. It's very different from Nia Jax lifting some girl up and holding her arms behind her back, and then shoving her shoulder first into the canvas where there's no opportunity for Bayley to break her fall. It was careless. There's a difference between an accident and careless. When Jeff Hardy's sitting there on his knees with his face right there, and Sheamus just kicks him right in the face and knocks his tooth out, that ain't an accident. That's being careless. There's a big difference. So get out of here, you numbskulls. I don't want to hear it.
All right. Well, that was the end of the show.
That was the end of the show. That text ruined my enjoyment of a great match. Actually, it did. But it is funny that, once again, I'll make it very clear, John Cena and Shinsuke Nakamura was given away for free on television so that we could pay for the winner versus Jinder. Yep. It's sad.
It's stupid.
It's sad.
But the match was good, and I liked it.
I did like it. I don't
want to complain too much.
Well, I can complain a little bit because I do pay $10 for special stuff on the network, and I get the better stuff on TV. So that does kind of make me mad.
Yeah, with SmackDown, that is true. I mean,
it's abundantly clear.
There's no doubt about it. Since this Jinder title reign, the television show SmackDown Live has been the...
Yeah, it's about giving us good matches on free television so that we pay to see Jinder have bad matches with the winners.
No.
Yep, that's what's happening, dude.
Bryan, do you... That's not what they're thinking. Do you know, like, how many people in India are watching the network? So they're not seeing these Jinder Mahal pay-per-views.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
It's even worse.
So got to get the TV show going. So, all right, you want to move on to this 91 Royal Rumble here?
Yeah, this will be quick. This is goddamn boring until like the last 20 minutes or 15 or 10 minutes.
I got a lot of notes. Well,
how?
I forced myself.
All right, well, first off...
I felt bad.
They got rid of the amazing commentary team of Tony Schiavone and Jesse Ventura. This time
what
it was...
difference.
Yeah, Monsoon and Rowdy Roddy Piper. That was the commentary team.
Yeah. They did those like inset promos. I watched them earlier on, and there was really nothing in them for the most part. I mean, Jake the Snake cut a good promo. Rick Martel cut a good promo. Tugboat, for some odd reason, cuts his promo and then goes, and Hogan, Hulkster, if it comes down to you, buddy, it's every man for himself. So, I mean, why out of all the people you're going to single out your best friend?
Well, because I think the idea was down the road, they're going to feud. It just didn't happen.
They should have known.
I mean, look, Tugboat's gigantic. I mean, Hogan had a big feud with the Earthquake and every other fat guy in the world. Like, why would Tugboat not be next?
I guess.
Because he's named after a boat? Earthquake's named after a fucking earthquake.
Why would he not be next because he's named after a boat?
I was just saying that's not a good reason if anybody says that's a good reason.
What the hell are you talking about?
You've
lost your mind.
I'm
You know what you are?
Arguing my own point.
You're doing the same thing that Hulk Hogan did in his interview with Mean Gene right before the Royal Rumble, and you are losing it.
Yeah, Hogan was rich and famous, so what's the problem? It's a great guy to emulate.
Was.
Most of it. Not all.
Was rich and famous, right?
That's true. He is again. No. He actually is again.
So Hogan's interviewed right before the Royal Rumble by Mean Gene. Did you see this?
Actually, I did.
Oh, my God. So he says he has the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Allies behind him in the Rumble. With that firepower, there's no way he can lose. Mean Gene, this fucking killed me, man. Mean Gene gets breaking news on his headset that Sergeant Slaughter may have defaced the American flag, but it may just be a rumor. And Hulk Hogan goes nuts, says, well, Mean Gene, you know what it's going to be, brother. It's going to be, well, I mean, you know what it's going to be. Mean Gene goes, I know what it's going to be. Hulkster goes, it's going to be Saddam Hussein's reign over Kuwait, brother. Temporary.
This was the show where Sergeant Slaughter beat the Warrior to win the WWF title with the scepter to the head finish.
Yeah, there's like a million angles on this show.
Yep, this
like
was
the Royal Rumble itself.
This was the year they were going to run like the LA's. It was the LA Memorial Coliseum or whatever. They were going to run the really big building.
Yeah,
and then they sold no tickets, and so then they claimed bomb threat. Got to move to a much smaller building. Which I guess you can't get into. Yeah. It can't get a bomb into a small building, apparently.
No.
You can get into a big building.
Hold on. Have we ever confirmed that it was an actual bomb or like the
No,
event
it wasn't. That's what they said.
No, I'm saying the event was going to bomb. They just played on words.
Of course the event was going to bomb.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying, you idiot.
So they didn't lie.
Get out of here.
They just said, well, shit.
Get out of
There's
here.
a threat this show's going to bomb. Bomb threat. Hey, let's move it.
So anyway, Bret Hart and Dino Bravo started this match.
Oh, so you knew Dino Bravo wasn't going to last long.
Not even that. This fucking match starts, and Gorilla Monsoon says, Well, Roddy, you know it's impossible either man can win. And I was like, I'll go fucking watch something else then. I'll come back when number 20 comes out.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you say that?
As good as last year was, and it was like stacked in the beginning, this year was the complete opposite.
Oh, yeah, one just numbskull after another.
Let's see. The first half here, we have Bret Hart, Dino Bravo, Greg Valentine, who I once went on a date with a girl that looked exactly like him, Paul Roma, Texas Tornado, who did get a big pop.
It was the first big reaction of the match. He was the 5th guy in. It took 10 minutes to get a pop.
Rick Martel, who set the record, 52 minutes at this time, 52 minutes and 17 seconds. Then Saba Simba.
Oh my God.
Bushwhacker Bush.
Hold on, we got to slow down here. Saba Simba.
I was just running through the guys. Let's get through the first 10. It's Bushwhacker Butch, Jake Roberts, and then at number 10, Hercules.
So Saba Simba comes out. He's like the 8th guy in. So we're now like 16 minutes in this fucking match.
Teddy Atlas.
Nothing is happening. Tony Atlas, not Teddy. Nothing's happening in this match. Kerry applies a claw hold. The Bushwhacker comes out, and I swear this is what happens. He does his Bushwhacker walk down to the ring. He does his Bushwhacker walk around the ring. Then he gets in the ring and just keeps doing his walk in circles around inside the ring.
Yeah.
I'm like, last year's Rumble was so amazing. This is hideous.
When the Bushwhacker came in, it was like 20 seconds, and then Greg the Hammer Valentine, who was just kind of looking at him, grabbed him. That was it. So Roddy Piper, too, on commentary, could not stop calling Paul Roma Romeo. Like, he just could not do it.
Yeah.
Like, does he know?
He's Roddy Piper.
Not
Why
Romeo?
question it? He does whatever he wants, and he can't remember a thing.
Well, God.
And Jake Roberts in next, his annual superheated entrance.
Oh, sends the crowd into orbit.
Yeah, finally we got some excitement.
Yeah, it goes right after the model of Rick Martel as they were feuding on their way to the blindfold match, the infamous blindfold match at WrestleMania. You know, you scoff at it, but as a kid, I think I loved that match.
Yeah, I think everybody when they were a kid loved it, but if you were an adult, you realize how fucking stupid it was.
If you're an adult, I mean,
we are watching it, Tom. What are you going to say here?
Exactly. I don't want to badmouth everybody that's listening and watching this along with us, but hey, we know some of it's fucking stupid. So Martel runs from Jake. Piper claims that since they both went under the ropes, they have a standing 10 count to get back in.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I believe that's a new rule.
Well, it was a rule that they rescinded.
Tito Santana, well, they just change rules every year.
Yeah.
First year, there couldn't be a manager and be at ringside, but the bodyguard Virgil could, who, by the way, earlier in this show, turned on the $1 Million Man.
Oh,
and was
ignited his career.
Giant chants. I mean, the crowd was chanting, Virgil, Virgil. Very well done angle, by the way.
Drop the ball.
Okay, Tito Santana enters, continues his feud with former partner Rick Martel, immediately attacks him, attempts to push him over the ropes. Jake the Snake gets put in this Kerry Von Erich claw, sells like he's being electrically shocked to death. And then, let's see, at number 11, that was Tito Santana.
It's
number
the
12, The Undertaker. And this Undertaker is very bizarre in retrospect. The pre-Paul Bearer Undertaker coming out with Brother Love.
This is the original Undertaker. Comes out with Brother Love. He's got red hair. He's got a mullet, which the Undertaker was always like kind of an ugly guy. I shouldn't say kinda. He was an ugly guy, which really helped his character. That stupid mullet made him 10 times uglier. I don't know why he grew the rest of his hair out.
He looked like Wendy on meth.
So he comes out there. He's got black tights, black boots, and a black shirt with no sleeves, but they've cut the sleeves out in a jagged manner, so he looks like a fucking Flintstone. He comes out here, he grabs Bret Hart and...
Whoa. What about his gloves?
Oh yeah, he's got his gloves on, his purple gloves.
Yeah, his purple gloves.
Yeah.
Like he's going to a hazmat scene.
He is, he's the Undertaker. So he grabs Bret Hart, and I watched this like after I watched Nia Jax just carelessly kill poor Bailey. He fucking lifts up Bret by the neck with 2 hands, and he choke slams him over the top to the floor. Just the most nice and easy choke slam over the top you ever saw. It's like, this is one of the reasons this guy's a legend. Everybody wanted to work with him. It was a night off, and he never hurt you. That's a professional.
Yeah. Well, it also helps when you get an awesome gimmick and a push to the moon.
Yeah, but you know what? This gimmick... Listen, Tom.
Yeah, there was not going to be another Undertaker. It was him, or it wasn't like you could just insert somebody.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, he got a great gimmick, but there's a lot of gimmicks that may have been great if the right guy got him. I mean, maybe if you would have given Steve Austin Skinner, he would have been like the best crocodile hunter there had ever been. But like, if you'd have given this to anybody else, and they did over the years, with the exception of Glenn Jacobs,
yeah, baby,
and Mark Calloway, nobody else could pull this off. And they tried with a lot of guys. There were fake Undertakers, there were fake Kanes. Like, if those guys, if the fakes would have gotten this originally, this would have been one of the shittiest gimmicks ever, and it would have died, so to speak.
Yeah. So the Undertaker also clutches the Bushwhacker, and it torpedoed him over the ropes. And I said the Bushwhacker. Even Gorilla Monsoon just said Undertaker threw the Bushwhacker out.
Yeah, he had no idea which Bushwhacker it was.
Well, later on we found out because he called the other one Bushwhacker Butch, I believe, when he came in.
Yeah.
So then we had the entrance of the coolest looking Davey Boy Smith ever. Runs full speed down in the ring. A questionable tactic, no doubt. Does battle with Greg Valentine. Davey Boy Smith, so dark, almost blends into the background, so tan. This is the time where he had the long braids, bright white pants. I thought this guy looked like an absolute stud. I mean, clearly he was, but he looked awesome here. This is the best version of him, I think. Rick Martel avoids elimination and sneaks around to the apron, grasps Jake Roberts by the back of the hair, pulls him to the outside, and eliminates him. Continues their feud. A young and bizarre-looking Shane Douglas runs down.
Oh, Shane Douglas.
The commentators...
Hold on. Before Shane Douglas came in, we had Smash, and we had Hawk.
Okay.
And keep in mind, I've just been watching Mike Hegstrand on these Retro Raws. I couldn't fucking take this guy seriously. That killed him forever for me. He's just a fellow with stupid paint on his face now. Comes out there. It was a terrible battle royal at this point. Undertaker and Kerry Von Erich, like, they're inseparable. They will not go with anybody else. They only trust each other, apparently. And they just did a bunch of stuff. And then, yes, Shane Douglas comes out, and Gorilla Monsoon says, and I quote, "A tremendous youngster."
They put him over the entire match till he got thrown out. Like, both guys, Roddy Piper, I mean, they must have had huge plans for this guy at this point.
Yeah, he became a teacher years later.
No, a dean.
Oh, yeah,
was he even
dean.
a teacher? He was a dean. Yeah.
Hercules took the worst bump for a clothesline from Hawk that you've ever seen at this point.
Was Hercules ever good?
No.
He was in the Final Four last year, then here he's just a nobody.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the Final Four of the Royal Rumble wasn't as prestigious as they make it out to be now because, well, we'll get to it. So, as Shane Douglas comes down, The Undertaker eliminates Kerry Von Erich, and Hawk tosses out Jimmy Snuka. There's a point at number 18 where there's supposed to be an entry, but there isn't.
That's right.
And Gorilla quickly summons us back to the ring for action.
No, it was Piper. Piper goes, "Let's get back to the ring."
Oh.
Like it wasn't supposed to happen or something.
Then pontificates that perhaps someone was watching and became too scared to compete.
Yes, this was supposed to be Randy Savage.
Whoa! You killed it.
I did kill it. Storyline apparently was that after he ended the title reign of the Warrior, this fucking crazy guy who just runs all over the place starts running after Savage, and Savage starts running, and right now they're still running somewhere. Like they're down the interstate right now. That's the storyline.
You know what? It's plausible.
It is plausible.
I believe it. So, unfortunately, as you said, Macho King was number 18. Unfortunately, it wasn't Road Warrior Animal because he came out at 19. So, Road Warriors team up and clothesline The Undertaker out, sends the people into a frenzy. Hawk quickly clotheslined in the back, eliminated by Rick Martel and Hercules. Then we get the original winner of the Rumble, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
No. We had Crush first.
Oh.
Crush comes in.
Did he?
This crowd was so dead for this was the first time in 3 years that I was watching a Royal Rumble and the crowd was dead. So they sent out Jim Duggan next and they came back to life.
Yeah. You think he wasn't supposed to come out then?
Well, I don't know if he was or not, but I just remember watching it thinking, this fucking thing is dead. And then a Hacksaw comes out and the place just went wild, and they were wild for the rest of the match.
But he didn't do a damn thing. It was great.
He didn't have to.
He gets in, ho!
Yep.
Throws a few punches for like 10 seconds.
Yep.
And that was it. So there's 11 men in the ring as Earthquake enters at number 22. One of the big favorites during this time, Earthquake. Animal tries to eliminate him, but Earthquake easily kind of just backdrops him over the top rope. Looks like we're getting set up for Earthquake to kind of rep shop here. A wreck shop, but he battles Duggan in a very uninspired manner instead.
I did love when Animal charges an Earthquake, and Earthquake ducks, and Animal flies over the top, and Gorilla Monsoon says, "Clever move by the Earthquake." Like, yeah, that was really clever. He moved.
He may have been falling over, actually.
Could have been.
So Piper, then, he's talking about how long some of these guys have been in, talking about the model Rick Martel. I believe Greg Valentine was in for 44 minutes. I think he was up to 38 minutes or something at this point. And Piper says, "Look, you viewers at home, try jumping up and down for 38 minutes and seeing how you feel. Imagine being in there like this."
Dude.
And I thought, like, you know what? Actually, jumping up and down for 38 minutes would really suck.
Yeah, it would.
And it's more action than most of these guys are performing in the match.
In their careers.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these, Battle Royal, except for last year, apparently, there's a lot of punching, kicking, stomping.
Standing around, hiding. That's what I did.
I've heard you can bring weapons sometimes if it's in a cage.
Just a rumor.
Cannot be confirmed. So, Mr.
Perfect is out next.
Yes, proves his superior intellect in regards to the rest of the field as he walks as slowly as possible to the ring. The crowd hated him. Vociferous
He
boos.
was so great. This brought me back to the days when the Intercontinental Champion was just like the best guy. He was better than the World Champion. Always had the better matches. I mean, when people... I mean, I know people like, oh, let's bring back the Intercontinental title to its former glory. Let's bring back the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
this is all
let's bring
bullshit.
back Kurt Hennig.
It's never going to happen. This was a time in company history that's not going to come around for a long time, unless, actually, it's kind of happening on SmackDown because Jinder's champ, but anyway, this was a glory era. You can't go back. Let's just go back and watch it and enjoy it. And then he goes in there and he starts fucking doing spots, and Gorilla Monsoon pretty much flat out says, no bumps in the Battle Royal. Same thing I heard from Tim Flowers for years. It's too dangerous.
So, up next, and I believe this is the number that's won the most times.
No,
Maybe
27 is.
No, 27? Oh, sorry. Number 24, Hulk Hogan. Crowd loses it, as you can imagine. Smash and Mr. Perfect attempt to blindside him.
Hogan was
Fights him
on
off.
fire when he first got in. He's throwing these punches. He's brawling. The speed of Hulk Hogan is virtually inconceivable. Like, I know people didn't like Hogan, and they compared Hogan to, like, Ric Flair and, you know, Randy Savage and guys like this, but Hogan was not that bad. Like, he had a shtick, and it was very patterned, but it fucking worked. And when the guy was feeling it, he could move, and he was pretty good.
Yeah,
Until later.
Well, yeah. So Hogan fights them off, tries to eliminate Earthquake, puts Earthquake's leg up on the ropes, and just muff dove face first into his crotch to try to push him up over the ropes. I don't know what he was doing. Hogan tosses Greg Valentine out finally. Now this gives way for Rick Martel to become the Iron Man and take the role of longest. Well, he set the record here, so longest man in the match. The other Bushwhacker enters, and this one is Luke. So at least we know the other one was Butch.
Have you mentioned Haku and Jim Neidhart coming in prior to this?
Well, no, because I did not care.
Dude, I cared because Jim Neidhart ran so fast. Like, if you would have taken all 30 guys and said, who's going to make it to the ring the fastest? Let me tell you who would have been very low on the list. Jim Neidhart. Well, guess what? He won. He ran so fast down this aisle. He dives into the ring, and then he's fucking blown up, and he can't do a thing. I howled. Like, what an idiot. First off, why would you run to the ring in the Royal Rumble? You should go slow, you fucking
But
idiot.
everybody's doing it except for Mr. Perfect.
And then he runs so fast, he's tired, and now he's useless.
I think The Undertaker was slower than Mr. Perfect getting into the ring. But yeah, well, Jim Neidhart was going to be useless anyways. What do you want from him?
I'm talking if it were real. This was a bad strategy on his part.
All right. So Bushwhacker Luke.
Bushwhacker comes out, and Gorilla says, and I quote, uh-oh, look out. That's what he said.
He walks down doing the walk, gets on the side of the ring, the apron, does the walk, walks in, Earthquake grabs him, walks him over the other side of the ropes, launches him out, and he just Bushwhacker walks to the back.
He did.
And the crowd goes nuts.
Yep.
The crowd loved it.
It was awesome, except for two things.
It sucked.
Number one, Gorilla claimed it might be a record. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, last year we had the record with the Warlord. He was in for like a second or 2 seconds or whatever year that was. But, I mean, clearly this was not the record. And then Gorilla Monsoon notes, you know, I don't think Luke really cared about being in this match. It's like, Jesus. God. I love Gorilla, but he totally sucked sometimes.
So the announcers, Gorilla and Piper, still putting over Shane Douglas on commentary. And it's still weird in 2017. Warlord enters at number 29. The announcers then figure out it's either Tugboat or Macho King, who no-showed at number 18.
You neglected to talk about my boy, Nasty Boy Knobs.
Oh, well, we'll get to him.
I don't know where Sags was, but Knobs is out here. And it was so funny looking at Knobs. It's so funny looking at Knobs. Because when I was a kid...
Yeah, thanks.
When I was a kid, I thought this fucker was so fat. And I look at him now, and it's like, he's mildly overweight. I mean, he's not that fat at all. But when you're a kid,
fatter.
and all you see is, you know, Rick Rude, and Warrior, and Kerry Von Erich, you look at Knobs, and you're like, this fat ass, he needs to get to the gym. I was so skewed as a youngster. He wasn't that fat.
All right, so Hogan eliminates Crush, as Crush went for the 10 punches in the corner. Then Tugboat comes out at number 30, so then they decide that, well, we guess Ultimate Warrior chased Macho King from the building. Shane Douglas gets tossed out by your boy, Bryan Knobbs, as Gorilla and Roddy Piper put him over on commentary as having a great showing here, the youngster Shane Douglas. Then Hulk Hogan continues his run of dastardly asshole moves and Royal Rumbles. And as Tugboat is over by the ropes, he charges full speed. There's like other people in the ring. It's not like it's just down to Tugboat and Hulk Hogan and somebody else. Hogan is in one corner of the ring. Well, looks like Tugboat's going to eliminate somebody. Instead of going over there and helping him do that, let me run over and just dump my best friend over the top rope while I get a shot.
Yeah.
Stab him right in the back.
They were going to do a feud.
Yes, I know. Hogan does this in all the Royal Rumbles. He pokes eyes. He does it in his matches, too. He cheats. Generally a dirtball. Dumps his best friend, Tugboat, ass over tea kettle, eliminates him. British Bulldog drop kicks Mr. Perfect off the top rope to get rid of him. Seemed kind of anticlimactic there.
Yeah, people booed.
Then he ducks, sends Haku over the top to eliminate him. And we are down to the final four, or final five, I believe, of Rick Martel, Bryan Knobbs, Earthquake, and then the British Bulldog and Hulk Hogan. So the Bulldog evades Martel, sends him from the ring with a clothesline. However, as I've mentioned like 8 times, Martel set the new record. Earthquake and Knobbs throw Bulldog out. Knobbs decides to then fight his true life only friend, Hulk Hogan.
You know what's amazing about this was when the last guy came in, it was Tugboat. It's just this match was boring. And then it finally comes down to Earthquake, Hogan's big rival, Hulk Hogan, and Knobbs, Hulk Hogan's best friend.
Yeah.
It was so great from this point forward. And it was so simple. But it was amazing. Hogan, he's trying to beat up both guys, but of course they're overwhelming him because it's 2-on-1. They beat the hell out of him. They slam him. Earthquake goes for the Earthquake Splash. Now listen, I grew up with the Earthquake. I saw Earthquake and Hulk Hogan live. I mean, I have such vivid memories of this, but I have not seen Earthquake in well over a decade. I've not watched one of his matches. This fucking guy sets up for his move, which is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life. He slams the guy, and what he does is he starts jumping in the air and stomping on the mat.
It's like
to create an earthquake. And then he runs and he hits the ropes faster than Dean Ambrose has ever hit the ropes in his entire fucking life. And he jumps in the air and he sits on the guy. It was fucking ridiculous. It was preposterous. I watched it and I was like, how did I like this as a kid? Like, how? It was so wacky. And of course, it's a Royal Rumble. Why would you just sit on the guy? Well, it's so Hogan can kick out and Hulk up. He hulks up. He makes his big comeback. He hits Knobbs with the boot, and Knobbs takes the fucking best ass over tea kettle bump over the top rope you ever saw. I could not believe the bump he took here for this. Hogan's going crazy. He signals for the big slam, which is where he pretends like he's going to press him over his head. He goes to lift up the Earthquake.
Whoa, hold on. Jimmy Hart got up on the apron.
He knocks off Jimmy Hart. He goes to do the big slam, and Earthquake falls on him. It was amazing. It was so amazing. Because back then, they didn't do a lot of things where, you know, you're making your comeback, he cuts you off. He does his moves, you kick out of his finish. You do your moves, kick out of the finish, blah, blah, blah. Like in almost every Hogan match, he'd hulk up, do his spots, hit the big boot, hit the leg drop, and win. So when he picked up the Earthquake and the Earthquake actually fell on him and crushed him, I was like, it's over. It's done. I was back to being a 14-year-old kid again. It's like, holy shit, it's over. But then, Earthquake does a couple of moves. and he makes the cardinal mistake in a Hulk Hogan match. Do you know what that is, Tom?
Tell me.
He makes a damn cover. He covers Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble. First off, what an idiot. Clearly, Jimmy Hart had been knocked out. Because if not, he'd be screaming, "Don't cover him!" But he covers him. Hulk kicks out. Hulk's up. And the rest is history. I thought the end of this match was unbelievable. I loved it. Am I the only one?
It was all right.
Oh, Tom.
I mean, it was simple stuff. I mean, yeah, it was good. What do you want?
It's great.
Hogan, as he said, was playing dead. I mean, I have some issues with the selling. But Hulk's up, takes control, finally lands the body slam. Earthquake, stumbles up, has his back to him. Hogan hits the ropes, lands the axe bomber to the back of the head, sends Earthquake sending over the top rope. And your
two-time winner.
Your winner, the first ever two-time winner, the immoral Hulk Hogan. As he walks away the victor, the fourth ever Royal Rumble, grabs a bunch of signs from the crowd, including a Peace in the Middle East sign, and also one that said Slaughter and Saddam will surrender, as the announcers put over the USA. Also, they were pushing on the show that Hulk Hogan's going to go do his own tour for all the troops in the Middle East.
Wow.
He's going to go there. He's going to shake hands. The WWE, they don't know what to do on short notice, so they're just sending Hulk Hogan there to lift the spirits.
You know, one thing you didn't mention, as you're talking about what a dick Hulk Hogan is, he's running wild on the Earthquake. The Earthquake is stumbling around. Hogan signals for the big slam. And then what does he do? He rakes his eyes. Then he goes for the slam. And then Earthquake fell on him, and I fucking howled.
But he raked so many eyes in this match.
He did rake a lot of eyes.
He does it all the time.
Yeah, he was an eye raker.
He wrestled like a complete heel in most of his matches.
You gotta do what you gotta do to beat these bad guys, Tom. Fight fire with fire.
I guess maybe that's why I'm not winning all my matches here.
Could be.
I can only beat these guys who fight me fair and square.
You need to cheat more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll learn someday, Tom. You'll learn the value of cheating.
Probably not. I mean, I got to learn how to be able to do a body slam and get a huge reaction out of the crowd like this.
Yeah, you got to set it up right.
I got a damn boring chant for some girl doing mat wrestling on Sunday.
Oh,
yeah.
That's when you grab the headlock and say, "I'll fucking show you boring."
Now, luckily the crowd booed her.
Ah.
Yeah. Or they were saying boo earns. I'm not sure.
Well, let's do some plugs for all these matches you got coming up.
All right. Well, there's not that many now since the summer's starting to wind down. Next week, August 11th, CRW Wrestling in Montreal. The next day, August 12th, C4 Wrestling, Fighting Back 7, taking on Mike Bailey in Ottawa. September 15th for AIW. Check them out at AIW Wrestling. September 23rd, I'll be taking on Matt Riddle for Black Label Pro. At B Label Pro on Twitter. That's in Indiana. October 23rd, Prestige Wrestling in Hermiston, Oregon, taking on Simon Grimm, the former Simon Gotch. Also, the convention's coming up, and I'll be taking on Thomas Santel, the former Antonio the Promise Thomas, and I promise that I'll break his heart.
Do not miss that show, everybody. The Future Stars of Wrestling Arena, August 19th, bell time 4 p.m. All sorts of big stars. Filthy Tom Lawlor, Thomas Santel, Phil Baroni, Stephan Bonner, Disco Inferno has been added to the show.
Ooh.
And Mini...
Shotzi Blackheart.
Shotzi Blackheart's going to be
Mia
there.
Yim, Leva Bates.
Yep. So check that out, everybody. Daily
Hudson
update.
Envy, I believe.
Yep. Scroll down to the bottom.